My name is Purpelle Tramble. I'm a filmmaker, singer-songwriter from Seattle, Washington. I went to Howard University, HU, the real HU. We always gotta say that, and just happy to be here to talk about film and just whatever.
You and I kind of do, we interview very similar people. I have kind of branched off, and maybe you can push back on this, but I've kind of
Oh,
branched
hey,
off.
I just not to interrupt, but
Yeah,
interrupt.
yeah.
I just listened to the podcast with your the one you just shared, the
The
professor
professor from
Frank.
Cal Berkeley. Yeah, Frederick. Yeah,
Yeah,
Frederick. Yeah, yeah.
that was pretty cool, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
Thank
I
you.
was just like, oh yeah, like you said, you're branching off.
I am. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is not music or film. This is
Right.
a professor, but then you did get into some it's like talking about the Godfather and stuff. I'm
Right.
like, oh boy. I was like, how far is he gonna go with this? And then yeah, I always liked the character, Michael too, but I mean, most people I would say they don't like the third one though. But
Yeah, and this is it's very strange. I actually saw part three before I saw
was it
part
the
one.
third one or the second one? There's one that's just
Part three is like it's totally. It seems like very unrelated with Andy Garcia.
uh,
And so one is the original, and then two is like the flashback, kind of, sort of. And so we introduced to Robert De Niro. But what I will
yeah.
say is that what's funny about it is I saw three way before I saw one and two.
What? Because
Yes.
you were just at somebody's house and they were playing it.
I'm
Because
trying
that
to I'm
happens
trying
too.
to
I'm
think.
like, dang.
Yeah, that may have been that may be it, because I think when it finally came to Netflix is when I started to be able to watch it. Like I saw bits and pieces on YouTube. For me, I've always worked since I was, man, maybe 13 or 14. So I never really had time to watch a lot of movies. Mostly it was music for me. And that's why, so when you posted that Stevie Wonder thing, I was like, man, I remember all of those songs, right? But
Hey,
but
that's funny because when I posted that, I was just happened to be thinking about him that day, and uh, then it turned out to be his birthday, and I got these beads going on. I'm like,
that, yeah, the
man,
Ashford and
it
Simpson.
was like feeling the vibes, and I was, I am when a celebrity or whatever comes to mind, I always, just go with that and just spend time on or do some research on their life or something because I started on editing very young, like in middle school. I had a teacher. I always remember the very influential teachers, man. I love teachers, like especially the ones that really care. So
Mhm.
Mr. Basketchia, I still remember his name. He was not even really necessarily trying to, get you into film, but he just had this extra credit opportunity and was like, you'll get to learn some. This class we were doing Adobe and working on uh, logos and stuff like that. So I know about like the layers and all that, but
Yeah.
I haven't really. That's something I want to get back into. That was
Okay.
fascinating because, but I do go off on tangents, so
No, no, it's all you're all
just
good. It's all good.
seems like you're pretty good at bringing people back to that. But anyway, Mr. Basketchia, there was an extra credit opportunity to film the football players, the games. So, and then you'll be
Ah.
able to edit the highlights. So, hey, man, I'm like, middle school, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I get to go. And we just moved down to California, actually, from Seattle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a good way to, and I get to go on the bus with the boys. And I was a
Yeah, yeah.
tomboy. I still am pretty much, but, kind of just, yeah, like a mix back in the 90s, Aaliyah. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the best of both worlds. I'm trying to just keep that. But
Absolutely.
I just kept going with it. Something about it stuck with me. But in high school, we were doing the switch from analog to digital. And so then I think that's when I made that choice to go with Final Cut. While
Yeah.
another friend of mine from high school, I don't remember his name right now, but he went with um, Adobe, you said?
Yeah,
Because
Adobe
I think
Premiere.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Premiere?
Final Cut Premiere. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So they're, man, I just don't like that. I love analog. So anyone that learns the editing on even film too, I think that sets you up because with editing, it's all the same thing. All of the, I say that, but then I take it back to because I'm really partial to Final Cut. Because
Yeah, yeah.
just to go ahead and answer your question,
Mhm.
I had like a lot of time working with Avid too, and when I did
Yeah, I haven't worked with
grad
that yet.
school.
Yeah, I haven't worked with that one yet.
The main thing I love about Avid is the purple. It's got all the little buttons of purple and that just that but it's geared more towards film. So it's just about working a little. The main thing you need is the cut tool, and if you want to add a little fade or
Mhm.
all that. And with Final Cut, I loved is that I finally figured out the little keyframe thing where I
Yeah,
could
that's
do it
tough. Yeah.
myself.
Mhm.
And then, but with the other programs, you have to go in and okay. So the I'm using iMovie, but it's like only because that still kind of reminded me a little bit of Final Cut, and I'm already familiar with iMovie. It's like starting a new relationship. I don't want to do it. I'm just like I feel people where they're like, but not like if he's like cheating all this, whatever. We gotta have a conversation and get whatever that together. Or I just it's like a lot. You have to go in and see all the different idiosyncrasies of this one now
You are so
and the
right.
different buttons and
You
oh,
are so
this means
right.
this.
So now you're a content creator and you are interviewing filmmakers. Why?
Yeah, that's pretty
What? Yeah.
funny.
Why that? Why'd you choose that?
Well, I mean, I'm constantly watching these films and like I really know how hard it is to be a independent filmmaker for one.
Absolutely.
And not I don't hate Hollywood. I mean, I love all those classic films and just I have this thing against HD, honestly, because I think it takes away from the look of a film. I think
Okay.
it looks too real. I don't want to see like this one movie with Chris Rock and what's that girl's name? Kerry Washington, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Mhm, mhm.
I think I love my wife.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
That
it.
movie.
Hmm.
That's a funny movie, by the way.
Hmm.
But this one
Throwing
scene,
dollar bills from the office. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
I think that was the one movie too where I was like, ugh, I didn't want to see that. Like this certain scene, she had taken her clothes off or whatever, and I'm like, see, now if you would if it wasn't HD and you had that that it's like this
Oh,
glow or whatever that a real film has to me.
oh,
Like
you're talking about. So you're
not
saying
HD.
so you're saying standard definition has a better or just or using film actually has a better quality than
Yeah, or
using
using
digital.
film.
Okay. Yeah.
And then how they can go in and touch up certain things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think they needed to touch that up.
Yeah.
I don't want to even say what it was, but it's just like a skin discoloration. Not even like it's how our skin is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be a different uh you know
Hue. Yeah. Different
in
hue. Yeah.
different places.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But
Yeah.
so the first season I was just talking about movies, like online streaming and all that, and that's just what it was. And then I was like, well, I kind of want to do something else. I don't know if other people are getting tired of just me talking and it's just
No.
me and just me.
No. No.
It's well, I mean, so but then I'm like, I want to use this for a greater good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um And so I'm like, well, I'm in a lot of these groups too on Facebook for filmmakers, independent, and even on a wider scale, a larger scale. So I just put out this call one day because I saw people complaining, and they're like, "Oh, this group should be more about sharing our projects and promoting not just that, but some of us don't even know who each other are and this and that." And then I just was like, "Okay, well, I just made a little post. How about you just post your projects?" And
Yeah,
then
yeah. Mm-hmm.
after that, I was like, "Hey, well, I think this COVID thing is really, or the pandemic. I don't like these. I don't know which one sounds worse or better, but it really, like, I was telling someone the other day that I could have been doing this a long time ago if
Absolutely.
this was
Yes.
available. But
Yes.
like a lot of times, the limitations really force us to be more creative.
What movies do you connect with? What movies do you resonate with? Give me like what would be in your,
Uh,
not necessarily your top five because that's probably too limited, but give me some of your top movies.
it's always too limited, but I like
Okay.
Spike Lee and Scorsese and Alfred Hitchcock. I try to just put it in directors, but I like She's Gotta Have It just because,
Really?
for
Okay.
one, it was came out the year I was born, and then the running time is actually my birthday, which is 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, yeah. You said
so
that. You said you were an Aquarius. Yeah, that's right.
put it together, it's my whole birthday, like January 24th, 1986. And then I like what it's about, because I think that is true to where, if you're trying to find the perfect guy, which the perfect guy or the perfect woman doesn't exist.
That's right.
But the concept was working for her sister, and she's like, she can find it in these three men and kind of put it together. Now, if you saw that series, you saw that painting that she did. Oh my god!
Well, I didn't watch the series. I saw the movie, but I didn't watch the series.
Yeah, it was cool, and then he brought Opal in there too. I'm like, dang, Spike, you trying to go
Yeah,
in?
yeah. I like Spike Lee. I think he does some amazing stuff.
Yeah, and so that, and then of course Crooklyn, and I love Goodfellas, Casino. Of course, that was one of the reasons I went to
To
Vegas in
Vegas,
the
yeah.
first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got that little part of that little, jug out. Stayed at
Mm-hmm.
the Flamingo, then I went to the Mob Museum back in January, and what's some other movies, man? Oh well, I mean, just to kind of get out of the norm, I do like this movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind,
Oh,
where
that's one of my favorite movies. Jim Carrey was awesome in that
it's
movie.
great
Yeah,
for like
absolutely.
a breakup, and it's actually brilliant.
Oh, it is brilliant. It is. Listen, it's beyond great. Like that film was so. I don't know if it won awards or not, but it's so slept on by people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just have. That was back when DVDs, and I
Ah,
scratched that. I scratched that thing up,
okay.
but it really did kind of help me. Like music helps too. Like 808s, 808 and Heartbreak. That really was a good one for me with Kanye. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but back to movies. There's like a lot, and it's like when people ask me,
Are you a Tarantino fan?
oh yeah, yeah, Pulp Fiction,
Mm-hmm.
which the first thing that always comes to mind with that movie is that ball in Ving Rhames' mouth, and
Yeah,
that thing
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's the
yeah.
I know the worst part, but it just comes up. And then when they did that, when they went to that restaurant, and then oh, when he had to bring her back to life with that needle.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
and what's another movie from him? Oh, I don't know how you felt about that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I saw
I
that
did.
about 3 times.
I haven't watched that one yet. Whenever it comes on Netflix or whenever I get around to doing it, to watch it.
Well, I'll tell you, I think he has something fascination with feet and dirty feet.
Does he? I'm sure he does.
Yes.
Because he also
Yeah.
has a fascination for something else too. I'm sure you've heard the rumors about that. Out of those three things, what do you think is the most important for a film to be not necessarily successful, but good?
Well, in the music too. I thought you were gonna say that, but
Okay. Or you mean a soundtrack? You think a
yeah,
soundtrack is important
because
to a film?
yeah, because there's a difference. You know, back in the day, there were more films. Not that all of them did this, but there were more films that had the music made just for the film.
That's right.
And then there's some movies that it might be more independent films that do that too. I don't know. Where they just put music in there. It's
Mhm.
not whatever music you can do, and not even looking at does this go with this scene or not. Is this helping to build the suspense for this next whatever? But yeah, I do. That's why I go to the movies or watch a movie more than once, because I'm looking, at different things. I think that the first thing for me that it would be the story, the plot, and is that working? Like, I love movies that have depth of the character, um, because I mean, a lot of times it's like some movies are going so fast, but you kind of want to know, for me anyway, and I guess maybe that has to do more with period pieces where you want to know the history behind it. Whoa, what was their mama like? What was it?
Yeah.
What made
Mhm.
them become this way, or like